and certain family members of his allegedly are going to make millions of dollars from the health care push. Allegedly now. You understand that we can't say that definitively, but even the Associated Press says that Obama's push for national health care overhaul is providing a financial windfall to Democratic consulting firms closely connected to the president and two top advisors, including David Axelrod. Now, of course, if this was Bush and it was Karl Rove would be history. But I'm not going to talk about that directly. I'm going to talk about this indirectly. Because the very same corruption that exists in this far-left government of Obama exists in the far-left government of Gordon Brown in England. And the very same corruption is being covered up here in the same way that it's being covered up there. And how do they cover their corruption here in America? They attack anybody who attacks Obama as being a racist. Anybody who criticizes Obama is a far-right, right-wing extremist. In England, what do? What did these British public school snobs do? And I say public school because in England it's the reverse of here. If you're rich, you go to a public school, not a private school. British public school snots, who apparently have never worked a day in their life, have been found out in my legal research. And I am going to talk about the insanity of my having to fight to have my name taken off a list of murderers and terrorists, while a true murderer and terrorist, the Islamic fascist who was responsible for masterminding the Lockerbie bombing and the deaths of over 200 people, was released by the British government, and he went home to Libya to a hero's welcome. Have you seen the footage of him getting on and off the plane in Scotland? Do you see them shaking his hand, the British governmental officials who hate me? The very same Labour governmental officials who hate Michael Savage shook the hands of a real murderer. And he went home to a hero's welcome. The British government under Gordon Brown is suicidal. They have sympathy for those who kill their own people and antipathy for those that would defend them. In researching the emails going back and forth between these snotty public school brats in England, you're not going to believe what we found. I've told you some of it, but you haven't heard all of it. I want you to go to michaelsavage.com at your leisure and look at the new legal letter to Britain. I will summarize some of those points today as I go in and out of the news. The memos are not going to be believed. You're not going to believe them when you read them. You have to see them. And I have to go back again to what I said to you before, that in a world of hype, a world of self-promoters, in a world of people trying to make a name for themselves, it's very difficult for you to take me seriously if you are a born skeptic as I am. I'm a born skeptic. I don't believe anybody, particularly anybody in the media. So it would be natural for you to have some skepticism about what I am saying, but I want you to try to not put aside your skepticism, but try to listen to what I'm saying to you. Just try for a minute. How do you square a government, the British Labour government, releasing the mastermind of the Lockerbie bombing, shaking his hand as he leaves Scotland, and putting me on a list of people to be banned because of my unacceptable behavior? Now, I want you to understand that to the British government under Gordon Brown, speech has become behavior. Do you understand how Orwellian this is? Speech has become behavior. And my speech, although it has never called for violence, may be offensive, may be shocking, may be very offensive and very shocking, as I'm sure it is to many people. It is shocking and offensive to people. I'm aware of that. Do you know that what I found in those emails should make your hair stand up? Do you know that they took statements from the founding of my Paul Revere Society, such as a nation is defined by its borders, language, and culture, and they use that as evidence of why I should be banned from Britain? I'm not making this up. I swear to you. I swear to you. They said that because Michael Savage believes a nation is defined by its borders, its language, and its culture, he has engaged in hateful speech. He has engaged in unacceptable behavior. Because he believes in borders, language, and culture, he has provoked and incited violence. Do you have any idea what this means? It means that the liberals have become the most extreme form of thought police. It means that the liberals have declared conservatives criminal. It means that the liberals in England have criminalized conservative thought and conservative speech, which is why every liberal who really believes in the liberal credo should buy my book, Banned in Britain. You need it as a document. You need to see the proof. You need to see I'm not hyping you. And you need to share it with your liberal friends. It may finally awaken you from your slumber before it is too late. It just might save America from the fate that Britain is suffering under these public school snots. I am one man fighting an entire government. Don't you understand what's at stake? I hope you do. And I hope you understand this is not hype, nor do I care about selling a certain number of books because it will fatten my wallet. I hope you understand that I'm well past that point in my life. And I hope you understand that there's a greater principle in these shows about being banned in Britain and this one man's fight to free his name from this list of murderers and terrorists. I hope you understand.
Savage. With Michael Savage, I can relate to him.
The Savage Nation. Weekday afternoons 3 to 7. Talk 910. KNEW.
Of blind love. I can't see anyone but you.
Love by the Sewer Plant was written during this summer. Each song has an association for me with a certain summer. First Love by the Sewer Plant. God. It is funny. I mean, it really is. Tell some other joke you can't do. It's a family show. But it brings back a memory. There was a car wreck. Now that I'm thinking, if you don't want me to talk about love and sex, I'll talk about a car wreck. Because this exact summer, I'll never forget it as long as I live. Let me see if I can pace it now. We're talking, forget the year. We're talking about the Catskill Mountains, hot August day. We're talking about a hotel that's long gone called the Riverview Hotel. Small hotel. The people were poor. They weren't poor. They were rich enough to go away for 2 weeks. Rich enough. And it was a nice hotel. And it was run by an ex-pugilist. Whether he was an amateur, professional, I don't know. He's a tough guy with a mug face and cauliflower ears and big hands. And if a busboy got out of hand, he beat him up and threw him off the property. He didn't go to the EEOC. It was crazy. Everyone was afraid of him. But, I mean, the dining room was clean. No one stole cutlery. You know, everyone got fed on time. The rooms were clean. But if any of the guys wised off with him, he'd give him a beating and throw him off the property with his valise out onto Highway 42. That was the place where I told you Jackie Mason first appeared, one of his first appearances. No one knew him. He flopped. The owner threw him out. No one laughed. So the next morning as he's leaving, he gets that one night. He says, all right, kid, get out of here. You're no good. No one laughed. Yeah, it was an oil painting in there. I told you, but the next morning, as he's leaving, he's saying goodbye to everybody, the people he met. He's a very nice guy. He has a cardboard valise. I mean, it was unbelievable, with his entire belongings in it. And one of the guys leans down behind him, and the other one pushes him, and he gets pushed into the swimming pool with his only suit. And his valise falls in. And all of his life's belongings are floating around in the water. And he's looking up. And I didn't know who this guy was. But instead of crying or getting mad or angry, I'll kill you, nothing. He laughed at the people who did it to him. He looked at them and laughed at them. And I said, my God, this guy has guts. You know what I mean? He reacted to being thrown in the pool with everything as though it was a big joke and he was in on it. And I knew this guy would go very far because nobody could knock him down. Now, the very same summer, outside the very same hotel, I think it was on Route 42, there was a bang. So the whole family comes running up. We were staying in a little house across from the hotel. We were didn't have the money for the hotel, but we had the use of the facilities. Like, we were friends of the owner, whatever, I don't know. But we ran out, and we come upon a car wreck with a car still smoking. One of the people is wandering around the road dazed, holding his wife's pocketbook, not knowing where he is. There are bodies strewn all over the road. This is a devastating scene. Now, none of us knew first aid. You don't know what to do. It's a shock when you come upon a scene like that. And that's the end of the story. I mean, there's no more to the story. There's no heroism. There's no cowardice. There's no nothing. We called the state troopers and an ambulance came, and that was the end of it. No one knew what to do. What do you do at that point? The point is that was the car wreck. So I was going to ask you a question. What was the worst horror you've ever seen in your life? for talk radio? It's not a bad question. I never even asked it. I know there. I mean, you say, what are you doing here? I'm doing what I want to do. Well, what's the worst thing you've ever seen in your life? I mean, certainly you could bring up terrible things that have occurred in America. You probably forgot 9/11 already. Many of you listening to me in New York on WOR can remember 9/11. San Francisco, 1989, the Loma Prieta earthquake. What was that like? How about the freeway collapse with cars falling down? Why am I into this kaleidoscopic horror movie? I don't know. It's like my mind became George Gross over the last few days. The fight with the British has turned me into another man. All of my youth, all of my humor and my mirth is going. I'm turning into something before your eyes. They want evil, they want mad, they're liable to get it. You know, you can only torture a person so long. You take a nice dog and you put him on a leash and you keep poking him with a stick. You can turn a poodle into a killer. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. 1-800-449-8255.